What is the greatest threat to our global security? See, that is an interesting question as there are many threats in our world today. But to understand what a threat is, you also have to understand what security is. Specifically, what is global security? Global security is military and diplomatic measures that nations and international organizations such as the United Nations and NATO take to ensure mutual safety and security. Basically meaning it deals with nations and armies made to make sure the world isn't threatened by one sole entity or multiple entities. So now that we know what global security is, what exactly would be a considerable threat to our global security? A serious threat would probably be a rogue state or country that has nuclear capabilities. Another would be a terrorist threat, growing and spreading throughout countries, or even a full-on collapse of the global economy. All of these would be a considerable threat to our global security. Now, those are serious threats, but they are not considered to be the greatest threat. The greatest threat would be something that affects almost the whole world, something that you can't just kill, and if not properly addressed, it can be inevitable, with serious consequences. A threat that serious would be global warming and climate change. The idea of global warming has a lot of assumptions behind it, so I'm going to give you the best definition of global warming. Global warming is the gradual increase of the Earth's temperature due to the greenhouse effect, which is trapping the sun's heat and warmth. This is caused by carbon dioxide emissions and the emissions of chlorofluorocarbons, aka pollution. Basically, what this means is that we're making the Earth so hot that we are literally setting it on fire. And I'm not kidding when I say that. See, we're making the Earth trap in all this radiation and heat, thus causing very dangerous effects and consequences. Some consequences are rampant forest fires like we've seen in Australia, California, and Oregon. Another could be severe storms, and their frequency is rising. Since the 1980s, the frequency and severity of hurricanes and other storms have increased at an alarming rate. So huge wildfires and huge hurricanes, that's really awful, but that's not it. No, see, by 2050, the seas will rise between 2 and 7 feet. That's bad, really bad, considering that nearly 1/3 of the world's population, or 2.4 billion people, live within 60 miles of a coast. If the oceans rise by more than 2 feet, that's going to affect 2.4 billion people. That's really terrible considering that 75% of the world is covered in water and 97% of that is ocean. You can expect massive flooding and loss of land, millions losing homes. More consequences are sure to come, such as dirtier air that comes with the pollution of carbon emissions. It leads to a lot of bad things, as breathing is a main component of living for human beings and pretty much almost every single creature that doesn't have gills. That's just the tip of the iceberg, literally. Because with rising temperatures due to global warming, the ice caps in the North and South Pole are melting right into the ocean. Not just the Arctics, but also all ice, like the glaciers, especially in central and eastern Himalayas. Scientists believe by 2035, the glaciers in the Himalayas could virtually disappear. Melting ice raises sea levels and makes the planet hotter because there's less ice to reflect radiation back into space. The situation is dire. See, the atmosphere is made up of many components. One of them is carbon dioxide. The biggest problem is that the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is growing exponentially. See, the amount of CO2 that is safe in the atmosphere would be 350 million parts per million. Today in 2020, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is 412 parts per million. For some reference, the amount of carbon in the atmosphere hasn't been this high since 3 million years ago. 3 million years ago, the ocean was about 60 feet higher, and there was no ice on the North and South Pole, and we were still evolving from our primate ancestors. I know this is all scary, and that's because it is. This is bad. The truth is, global warming is a threat to everyone, because it's something that affects the planet as a whole. Global warming breeds pandemics that shut down everything, such as the coronavirus. It hurts resources, precious resources due from desertification. When the storms roll in bigger and badder than normal, then it affects millions at a time, killing people and displacing others. But there is light in the dark. See, with every threat and every problem, solutions are available. One of the solutions would be to completely cut out fossil fuels from our transportations to the use of energy for houses. That's a huge thing to do, but it's still necessary to save the planet from one of the greatest threats to not only global security, but to the human species. Another would be to decrease the amount of humans on the planet, limit the amount of children being produced, and encourage adoption. A decrease in the population of humans means less cars being used, less of everything being used that would contribute to global warming. We need to be more efficient with everything we do. Cleaner energy that is more efficient to use will be a huge contribution to lessen the effects of global warming. Other sources of energy are nuclear and hydro and wind, solar, geothermal, or even biofuel, which is fuel from any kind of algae or plant or animal waste, or any kind of biomass. It's not like the USA or China or any of the rich first world countries don't have the ability to do this. Our government just lacks initiative to do something real about the problem at hand. See, that's why people in power need to start paying attention to an earth that's literally dying in front of us. The only thing that's going to help is elected officials ready to make a commitment to plans that help with global warming instead of policies that encourage oil companies to continue to mass produce oil and sell it for energy and transportation. This is it, one world, one planet. And if we want to be secure and safe, then we have to deal with the problems that would threaten our safety and security. And this is a big one. First step to solving problems is admitting that the problem is there. Our problem is that the earth is dying and it threatens our security and safety on a global scale. Thank you for watching my video, and let's get ready to save our world, our home.